Hello and welcome back. Today we are playing Victoria 3 and we are continuing in our fascist UK, no technology, no declaring wars run of very peak sadness and misery and discrimination, and we're going to be going ethno-state and etc., mostly etc. Last episode we did have the Springtime of the People event, which was big stress. We managed to get through it while still having Queen Victoria, so the dream is still alive of having Victoria, Freud, and Karl Marx all together in one government, and so this is the dream that is keeping us alive. Also, we do want to bring the rural folk up in clout in order for them to demarginalize, and I think we're finally going to bite the bullet and use an agitator slot and an invite cooldown to try and bring them in. We are just going to double check that we can't roll a fascist instead, because we would prefer to invite a fascist to get the fascist event chain, and instead we'll invite this authoritarian boyo here, who should help to pull up their clout a little bit on the rural folk. Hopefully, we just need 1.5%, and once they demarginalize, they'll be in much better shape. We're also helping Mexico out in exchange for them becoming our protectorate, and I think we're going to drop taxes, not Texas, just a little bit in order to get into the new, tier of righteous government, but also to hopefully, squeeze some bonuses out of these guys, which has been a little bit difficult. Currently, you only really accumulate bonuses, or you only really accumulate, IG approval on the back of, having loyalists, if the IG is in government, which is a bit painful. I think we might do this in order to kind of better move in that direction. Oh, no, wait, we need these guys for regulatory bodies. Just kidding. So we'll keep it as is currently, and then... Don't like rolling the negative events, but it is okay. We are trying to get reg bodies through first, and then we should be able to tidy up this Mexico war. And now Mexico is our protectorate, and so this is going to be nice for us. We're losing quite a bit of money, but I don't think we need to worry about expanding construction right now, because currently, construction is a little bit less useful for us. And we get another guy, Boyo Exiled, who I believe was a radical, or just kind of an ideology we didn't like, so that's super nice for us. We're mainly going to be building in here because this is one of the few places we do have labor, so this is mainly where we're going to be cranking up as best we can. Okay, this is an insanely good roll for us here. Desperate Allies event trigger on this, because not only are we going to get 20% enactment chance, but 15% pop group attraction. That's going to be super nice for trying to demarginalize, our boys. They're our boys, and we're trying to demarginalize them. They're, our rural boys. So if we exit reform government, we can see these guys are up to 3.8% clout. Not quite there yet, but they're getting there. It's been a bit of a journey. We've been trying to bring them up since here, and it's been a struggle, but once we get them above 5%, they should demarginalize, start getting some more votes, and, stay demarginalized. And we want these guys because we want to go no police. And we want to go no police because this allows us to roll fascists at a much higher rate if we are on no police already. So this is something we should have planned out before the run, just no police at some point in time, and it's been very painful, and we are kind of coming up on it, just like we're kind of coming up on this, the 13-year analytic philosophy. So we went, we went from political agitation for 13 years into this, and we've researched maybe 3 or 4 useful texts, and this has also been a source of struggle, and so we're kind of coming up on, these goodies, and so it's going to be good. It is so unbelievably tempting right now just to go rights of assembly so we can go guaranteed libs, because guaranteed libs is so much better, but this obviously doesn't fit with the theme of the run, but I'm just in absolute pain. So just watching this movement for rights of assembly and being unable to use it. But we do pip rotary valve engine, which is nice, and let's see if we're researching anything that's nice. So dynamite's coming next, so that's going to be pretty nice, and rotary valve is particularly nice because we're basically out of labor in the British Isles in a lot of spots, and so we will be able to, swap onto rotary valve engine, and then you use it in a lot of spots, and this will help out a whole lot with the fact that we're basically out of labor here. As you can see, we could just swap up on pretty much everything. It's going to be more profitable with the rotary valve engine, and so this is going to help out quite a bit and free up some labor for other stuff. I think here we have equilibrium unemployment in some spots. Yeah, so the guys who were fired off, even though this was fully employed, should be able to employ up at the text ammo signals and these types of things. And so we'll go throughout the entire British Isles looking for places to turn on rotary valve engine. Or by the British Isles, I mean stuff that's English, not Welsh or, you know, Irish. Alright, so we pip human rights, which is going to be nice because we can go compulsory primary school. Normally it's nice because you can go multiculturalism. I think that ship has kind of sailed. I mean, maybe in some world we, like, go it, but I'm pretty sure we're going to need to go ethno-state. So, although, interestingly, if we go multicultural, we'll solve our labor problem because we're in this. And then after this, it's really easy to swap from multiculturalism to ethno-state, so maybe this is a bit of an idea. Unfortunately, we won't be able to, like, leverage this slot because we're keeping Marx around, and so we're not going to be able to leverage the trade union slot in order to try and push that through. Compulsory primary school, yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I believe we get old age pensions also unlocked with this, and maybe we want to be able to do that. But the problem is again, this is just the ugliness here. This is, like, hyper unacceptable, and I think we'd rather just float. You know, floating, I think, is probably overall going to be better for our approval than, like, trying to pass and, like, being hyper illegitimate. And I think we just, like, look to generate loyalists, but we're not generating any loyalists for the trade unionists. Really, monarchy, because it sticks you, like, because we've been stuck having an industrialist for so long, I actually think this is a pretty significant disadvantage because it's making it harder for us to generate loyalists because of the changes. You can see, like, the trade unions, barely any approval. Rural folk, I don't know why we're getting so much approval from them. Speaking of the rural folk, let's exit reform government. They're at 4.8% clout now. And so, they're probably about to demarginalize, and so I think we're going to kind of be leaning into them, hopefully. We also have this uprising here. Leaning into them in order to pass no police. And no police, I guess, will probably be our next law pass. Will upset the petite bourgeoisie and the armed forces, but it will help us to, once again, get on to fascism. Finally, the old folk are influential, and we're going to immediately slot them into government here, which will put an ethno-nationalist in government. Hurrah! We can maybe decrease taxes again, down to kind of the lowest slot. Maybe we can afford this. I mean, we are growing at a decent clip, and this will put us in the righteous slot. But more importantly, we will be able to try and pass no police, which doesn't radicalize anyone, and will hopefully, you know, put us on our way to fascism. Hopefully we get good rolls. We do see this enact presidential republic. This is a bit concerning. This is in part because it's because these stupid agitators. So we can maybe tell this guy to kick rocks, right? We could exile dissent on him. And I mean, this is going to upset the trade unionists, though, and then the trade unionists probably just join of their own accord. We could have this guy. This guy's probably the bigger troublemaker here, but the petite bourgeoisie is not happy at all with what we're doing, naturally, which is why we lost our bonuses for them. But I don't think we need to bolster the rural folk anymore, and I don't think we need to, you know, suppress the landed gentry, because the whole point was getting the rural folk in, so I think we could do this. I think we could come here. And I think that perhaps, you know, the fact that we are on minimum taxes now, maybe this takes care of itself. Oh, we get to strike? What the hell, man? Alright, well, I think we'll open negotiations with the strikers, and they'll demand that we increase, you know, this workplace safety up to level 3. I think I've seen this demand before, and I think we'd be fine with that. Getting that up to 3 is a reasonable thing. So if you see here, we can promise to expand workplace safety, and I think we're going to do this because we don't want to expand Social Security, we don't want workers' protections, and so we're going to promise to expand workplace safety, and we will see, we have to get it up to level 3, which shouldn't be too much of an ask, especially because, you know, as far as the government administrations go, we'd already started kicking one up to 51 here, and so we'll just, you know, increase this one up to 51 as well, and between the two of those, you know, this should solve both the tax problem here, so we should have every place at max taxes. Notably, we incorporated Beijing, or we're in the process of incorporating Beijing, and, you know, once it gets incorporated, it will get rid of some malices, and we'll probably build more here, and so this will be pretty nice as well. I think we're gonna maybe put down a pretty strong smattering of clothes here in anticipation of this getting, you know, up to snuff, as it were. But I'm not sure how long we can keep doing this. I think we can build into this, but I'm not very confident considering we're adding government spending here as well as doing this, but we'll try and see what we can do. So we're going to take a little bit of a risk here. You know, we are basically on the cusp of default, which is why we had to raise taxes, which cranked down our GDP here a little bit, and we are a little bit concerned about this presidential republic. And so what we're going to do is we are going to reform the government to look like this. And we are going to have the taxes a little higher, and by putting the petite bourgeoisie in government, we make it so they can't rebel. However, we are risking the rural folk becoming marginalized. Now, I don't think they're going to become marginalized, but this is a little bit of a risk, and if we can, we'll try and we increase taxes. I think we want to try and keep this level of taxes, but we'll look to clear out some of our credit line before decreasing taxes. The minimum taxes were just, it was too much for us to try and, you know, get through. I mean, maybe we want to remove some of these like edicts and stuff, but I don't think so, in order to try and generate more revenue. I think we're kind of where we want to be overall, and so but this is going to help give us a little bit more you know, defense against a potential rev, because the petite bourgeoisie is now in government, and so they cannot rev with unless they become -10, in which case they get kicked out of government. And then this will also give us a much more legitimate government than like the 70% we were cruising with, and in exchange we're only losing about 4 to 5% you know, in terms of this approval. And so we'll take some ticks, and then we'll decrease the taxes and try and build into this new situation. Part of it also was we lost a whole bunch of bureaucracy as a result of the petite bourgeoisie becoming upset. So now you see the numbers looks a little bit better, and this -25k, -70k, this is probably something we can build through, but if it's not, then it's not too big a deal. We'll work on getting the workplace safety office up, and then you know, as you can kind of see here, we're in righteous, and so this is going to help us generate loyalists, which will help to get rid of this malice eventually, although radicals from standard living decrease, yikes. At least these guys aren't powerful. Yeah. And then we will also, you know, yeah, so this is going to help us pass the law much faster, despite we're not leaning on the rural folks' clout anymore. But yeah, you see the default does kick in, and so I think we'll resume on the next, you know, tick, but we'll just increase taxes and just recognize that we don't quite have it. And so at this level, we shouldn't re-default very easily at all, and we should be able to build into kind of what we're doing, but we'll see. Dynamite is the first good tech we've gotten in a long while. Also, we do have this revolution brewing, which should be okay at 84, but it is a little bit spooky. We are going to want to lower taxes if we can sometime soon, but I don't think we can quite afford it just yet because we were kind of teetering back and forth. Also, notably, as we get rid of police, we will completely, you know, dedicated police force is giving us minus radicals from standard living decreases currently. This, combined with lack of guaranteed libs, is actually going to be extraordinarily uncomfortable. I mean, we're already uncomfortable. We're crying, screaming, and throwing up, but this is just going to make it so much worse. But Dynamite is going to be a nice little band-aid, so we're going to get to put on Dynamite everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. We're going to turn it on everywhere. And also the condensing pump engine, I think we were not turning it on intentionally as a result of, you know, it being in Ireland, but we're just going to turn this on now. And hopefully we get some good ticks on no police. We are currently not as, or I guess we are legitimate, but we are not running the minimum taxes. And so we would kind of rather have some taxes. This is going to be nice. Us getting a little bit enactment chance, you know, getting some lucky rolls here as we try and pass this. Also, we turned Mexico into a dominion, so it's very amusing that we haven't declared a single war, and the U.S. already looks, you know, this in trouble, but we will be annexing the Trucial states here in just a moment. So we get our first election result, and we see that the rural folk do get 11% of the vote, and so I'm expecting to see them have, you know, kind of a little bit more clout, certainly more than, 4.5%. And while it's not a lot, this 5.5%, I think it's going to be hard for them to be demarginalized unless we actively try and demarginalize them, which we're not going to do. But we've gotten some lucky ticks here, but we do have this revolution kind of breathing down our neck a little bit. I think perhaps, you know, we maybe should have been going higher on, you know, the state police, which does have, you know, minus revolution progression speed and minus political movement radicalism, which maybe would have been helpful for keeping us out from under this, and so maybe we should have been leveraging this a little bit better, but overall I still think Guaranteed Libs significantly better, but we're just kind of, you know, cruising along here, waiting, you know, biding our time for anyone who decides they want to try a diplomatic play. That way we can jump in. Alright, it has been a little bit touch and go for a while, but the revolution that has been brewing, one of the agitators and guys left, and we now are finishing keeping the promises of the strike, which should make the trade unions quite a bit more loyal. I think we are going to choose, yeah, let's choose the one that is going to kind of increase their approval the most, and this will hopefully, you know, pull them out of the point where they're not liking us very much, and they will no longer be revolutionary here, and they are happy even. Manufacturing industries throughput, big nice, which is actually going to crank up the economy. This is one of the reasons why Guaranteed Libs is so good, is because it can give you access to, you know, these bonuses, which are going to crank up, you know, the economy in response. But we're going kind of the other way with no police, and we, as a result of going no police, we will make sure we increase this institution to max level, because we're going to be losing our law enforcement institution once this comes through. I suppose we could increase this, like, speculatively. Well, no, let's not increase it. Let's just leave it where it is, because it's going to be going away sometime soon. But now we're left with 60% kind of event tick, and over 50% here, and so we are in very, very good shape, and things are looking like it's going to pass through. And once we pass this through, then we will be rolling a whole bunch of guys in order to find the fascists, which is great, because we're about ready to be welcoming the cocaine hero himself, Mr. Sigmund Freud, who, you know, did way too much of that stuff, and then, you know, so we have a slot ready for him. So as soon as, you know, we research that tech, we will be able to kind of get this through. We get analytical, perfect. So we get this off the back of, even better, we get this off the back of this. Now, publicly traded, we will, I don't even know if we'll swap everything, but we don't want this. We don't want this at all. We don't want that gentleman at all, but you know what we can do? You know what we can do? I believe we can let this event tick, and we can just come in here. And now we are going to proc, oop, we should have been on repeaters and this, but, you know, it'd be like that. Here we're just going to switch everything to covered markets. It's been a little hot minute since we've gone through these. We have acquired, you know, some things, but now we can go Analytic Philosophy Department, which should trigger an event. Also, we unlock our queue, so we're going to research actually useful stuff. We see pump jacks is not spreading, so we might go for... Well, we might have to go for mass surveillance, for militarized police. We're not going to do that to ourselves just yet, though. We're going to go, before we go that, we will be going feminism into malaria prevention, and the loud car outside. And so, because we do want to pass some feminist laws and exile at the gates. Okay, we are waiting for our thing. Where's Mr. Freud? No one's gotten this tech before us. Do we really have to clear this out? Alright, we're going to clear this out, and then we should be hitting... Where's Mr. Sigmund Freud? We're supposed to get an event as soon as we turn on the thing. As soon as we have a high enough level uni, right? Using analytical philosophy departments, so I guess we'll just wait around and see when we get Freud. See, this is exactly what we didn't want to happen. We had an agitator just randomly appear before our, you know, Freud event, and the Freud event might be bugged, which is, you know, terrible. We see we do get Oswald Palmer, who is a communist, and so we will probably just grant him Oh no, we don't want to use up our grant leadership here. Damn. We don't have an exile available. We need to wait 3 years before we can exile one of these guys. And if we grant leadership, then we will lose the ability to grant leadership with Freud. So now we are left in a bit of a pickle where we want to get rid of an agitator or turn an agitator into a ruler, and we don't really know how the best way to do that is. And that is not ideal at all, because we wanted Mr. Freud, and we're asking what gives, because my understanding... I took a look at the code, or someone looked at the code for me in regards to what pops the Get Freud event, and it was researching or it was having, it was going in on analytic philosophy, and then turning on the schools PM, and then this was sufficient. So now we're at a little bit of a loss for what exactly is going on. And so, I mean, I guess we'll continue on, but this is not ideal. Hey, would you look at that? We successfully defunded the police here. So now we're going to get a bunch of fascists, is what's going to happen, or it's going to greatly increase the chances of rolling fascists, and this is what we've been waiting for. Now, these guys are unlikely to be fascist, because they are from, like, the old guard type of thing, but everyone we uncover underneath these guys is much more likely to be a fascist. We see this guy's a market liberal. Now, we want to avoid... Well, this guy's disliked, so we can recruit him, but we want to avoid particularly popular, armed forces guys that are not fascist, and so we're gonna try and keep an eye on that. We also don't really want a Republican. That guy was a Republican, but this guy authoritarian. He's not very popular though, so we'll throw him in, and we'll just kind of go down the line here, really looking for a fascist, not the abolitionist. Not the, well, I guess we don't really care too much about a nihilist, because the Intelligentsia, they cannot roll. Here we get ethno-nationalist. I don't think they can actually roll a fascist, and so we want to try and figure out a way to get the fascist. And what we might do is we might actually exile him and then re-invite him back. Of course, we are having slot problems. If you're having slot problems, I feel bad for you, son. You might be us. But we're just looking ethno-nationalist. How well liked are you? Neutral, -15, we'll do this. But we're still looking particularly for the fascist, boyo. I guess we don't really hate that. Is that the John French? Nope. It's not the guy we thought who was going to be. But yeah, we are kind of a lot of rolls and not a lot of progress here. We are looking for the... Where's the fascist, please? It's like double the percent chance, although maybe we should have waited. Let's recruit him, just because we want them to have a little bit more clout, I think. Actually, now their clout's kind of irrelevant, but they're happy with us, so we're more than happy to get their bonus. But we'll try and see. Well, why don't we actually wait until a Monday, and then we will try again to roll some of these guys. Reformer, we don't really have to worry about those guys. Let's see, communist, not what we want. Moderate, not what we want. This guy, ethno-nationalist, a lot more ethno-nationalists now, though, we are seeing than we normally would. I think we don't want to. I think we want to avoid that guy if we can. And the ethno-nationalist, I also believe, rolls more aggressively if you have what is it? No police, and so this is kind of helping out. Communist, much excite. Reformer, yeah, but we're not doing too well on the rolls here, so now it's going to be kind of a luck game when it comes down to our ability to get one of these guys. Kind of was hoping to get one of these guys while we're kind of looking through it ourselves, but it's not looking very good. We've gotten a ton of ethno-nationalists. I mean, a ton of ethno-nationalists, but we have a ton of ethno-nationalists, but we haven't quite a ton of ethno-nationalists. If you're an ethno-nationalist and you know it, stomp your feet. But we haven't managed to, get a fascist, which is what we need in order to proc a ton. We need the fascist in order to proc the event chain, which is unfortunate that we have not managed to roll one in so many rolls. But I think that we would exile and then re-invite, and so I think we actually might want to clear space for them if we can here. Okay, so can we exile yet? No, we gotta wait 29 months. So we gotta clear space for Freud, bring Freud into the government, and then also we're going to be on the lookout for some fascists. So we had decided to switch from feminism to reinforced concrete. This is going to give us construction sector building throughput, which is actually going to be pretty nice. This is one of the reasons we hadn't started re-expanding construction sectors, but this is going to give us quite a bit more construction without any additional labor, and this is going to increase the prices of all our construction goods. You see it go from like 11 something to around 1300. We're also going to take a cheeky little attempt at ethno-state, and now seems like an okay time to pass it because we are largely at the victim right now of, circumstance, as it were, because we can confederate Canada? How's that? We annexed it. What the hell? Anyways, as I was saying, we are kind of at the victim or the mercy of the ability to roll a fascist, and so we're gonna be like kind of in this street for some time. And maybe we actually just don't want ethno-state right now, and maybe we actually want to move towards multiculturalism, because it's really easy to go ethno-state once you're multicultural. They'll support like anything once you're multicultural, but yeah, just trying to get on to I don't know how good it will be here, but it will be nice for getting the cloud of the petite bourgeoisie up. The problem is they hate our guts right now. Not too happy, this nihilist guy. But, yeah, we'll see what we can manage to get done. And, if we get a soft fascism type thing without actually managing to, pip the full fascism event, then that'll be what it is. But right now, we're kind of focused on this Freud situation. I think we already sent in there. Yeah, we sent some guys over, where we need to, wait until we can exile this guy. 27 months. This is very strange. Great Britain, that's us, is offering us support in the ongoing diplomatic play against the Dutch East Indies liberal revolt in exchange for us owing them an obligation. Okay, sure. Oh, this was Mexico. Curious. Well, it said Great Britain, now didn't it? Well, that's a bit interesting. In any case, I guess we'll take some Mexico's help here. Worst case scenario, they just, ask us for an alliance with the obligation. Actually, we can't annex them when they have an obligation. Really not that big a deal, though. We couldn't resist. We bit off some construction. It's probably more than we could chew, but we'll see how it goes. We're building it here in, Hebei, where we do have access to a good amount of labor. And I think in Hebei, I think, maybe we are actually starting to empty some of these unused... Yeah, we've managed to empty some of these, which is going to be super nice, because now we can do something like increase cotton, increase silk, and then, put in a, also on the back of this, where is it? Textile mill. Just put in some of these and start kind of cranking up like this. Unfortunately, it does cost us a lot of convoys for port connections by building here in Hebei, so this is one of the downsides. And we have been using an edict here to try and get them to employ up here, but this is a 1.5 special where these places don't really employ up very well. We have greener grass campaigns, it doesn't matter, and we still haven't managed to, get it up to the point where we are actually getting canal access through for our convoys. It's the opposite of Big Nice is what it is. Big Nice here. We had an Intelligentsia guy retire, and guess who took over? An ethno-nationalist, one of the many we recruited, for our generals, and so now they went from not approving of what we were doing, trying to pass ethno-state, to very much approving, and now there's no one in the way of passing this, and so we are well on our way towards making a little fascist paradise here. Terrible news here to round out the episode. You might be able to see it. Herr Marx is dead. Karl Marx has succumbed to his old age, and this is especially unfortunate because there was a split second where my knowledge of the event that procs in order to roll Freud is such that we should have been able to roll Freud there, and that had Freud, Marx, and Elizabeth all at once. Or sorry, Victoria, not Elizabeth. That Elizabeth would be a neat trick. Alas, we cannot. And so it is with great sadness we conclude this episode. But the communists really hated what we were doing, so now that's actually going to be kind of good for the trade unions' approval, at least. And it's also going to be easier for us to do stuff like move on to single party after we do ethno-state, this type of thing. But the meme is dead in our hearts. F's in chat for Herr Karl Marx. This episode, two things happened, really. We abolished the police, and then Karl Marx died. And so we defunded the police, rather, and then Marx died. I'm shook. This is a tragedy for all of humankind, but especially the ones who wanted to see Marx and Freud together, best of friends. Alas, the the menage rulership was not meant to be between Victoria, Freud, and Marx. Pour one out for Marx. Godspeed, and good night.